Welcome to your K-12 Bulletin Spotlight on Innovation. I'm Abby Pryor, Vice President of Educator Engagement here at the ASU GSB Summit, and I'm joined by Keisha Redd-Hannans, Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment in New Haven Public Schools. Let's jump in.
New Haven Public Schools is one of 4 urban centers in the state of Connecticut. We have approximately 18,000 students with 40 schools. Our demographic groups include about 50% Latino, 33% Black, 10% white, 4% Asian, 3.5% 2 or more races. Our students comprise students that are 75.2% economically disadvantaged. We have 77 languages spoken in New Haven Public Schools, approximately 16% students with disabilities, and 22% multilingual learners, and approximately 3% unhoused students. AI is here. It's not going anywhere. And as a K-12 educational system, we need and we must embrace it. If we do not, without clear guidelines, schools face significant risks, including academic dishonesty, widening the equity gaps, and data privacy breaches. So it's critically important when we talk about academic integrity, but more important when we talk about equity and access and think about the digital divide. We don't want our students just to compete globally. We want them to successfully compete globally. In order to do that, we have to integrate AI within our K-12 settings and create policies that allow it to be implemented responsibly. And so in New Haven Public Schools, the superintendent and I embraced that thought. We worked collaboratively with some of our stakeholders who, just like everywhere else, some folks are gung-ho and ready to implement, and others are saying, we're not too sure we want to implement AI. AI may be taking over the world, and we have a lot of questions around it. So when I convened the team in April of 2025, it was critically important that I had all voices in the room with all feelings. Not everyone gung-ho and ready to implement AI, some that were skeptical as well, because we needed to understand what were the fears, what was the trepidation that was there, and then realize a bridge to how can we implement safely and put a policy in place that all could embrace. And so from there, what I decided was, let me bring the unions on board. Let me talk to our teachers union. Let me talk to our administrators union. Let me have them identify some key members in their team that would be interested in being part of an AI committee, as well as I selected some administrators and teachers that I knew as well wanted to embrace and was hesitant. And then I included our IT department. It's critically important that our IT staff was involved in the process because they are critically important to approving the tools that we would use within the district. And even within our IT department, the emotions, the feelings, the opinions of AI, it ranged from, yes, let's do it, we're all in, to I'm not too quite sure yet. And so bringing everyone to the table and level setting and just having a conversation around how do we use AI in our daily lives? How can we use AI to help us, as well as what are some of the fears and challenges? We started with a simple thought exchange in our AI committee and answered those questions and had a robust conversation around AI and what our beliefs were around AI and its usage and how it could be beneficial and also harmful in a K-12 setting. And then from there, we decided let's go out and do some research. We have these opinions. Now let's use the evidence. Let's see what's out there. How are people leveraging AI? And from there, we started narrowing down to say, okay, this could work for us and it could bring about innovation in our schools. And so with that type of synergy, we were able then to research other school districts. Shout out to Torrance in California, Dr. Tim Stowe, who has a very robust AI policy. And we were able to leverage other policies and then create a policy in New Haven that we thought worked for our students, our families, and teachers and community. After we engaged in a thought exchange around our feelings, our fears, trepidation, I presented the committee with a speech I had given maybe a week prior. And I asked the question, if this was an assignment in school, did I cheat? And I showed them the log from my AI question, my questioning going back and forth with Gemini, going back and forth and seeing how it's refining my speech, but I'm also feeding in a lot of information. We had an awesome conversation around, but you gave it a lot of information. It didn't just tell you what to do. No, it's my speech. And people who have heard me speak publicly also said, and it has your voice in it. We hear your voice. Yes, yes, it is. What I used it for was some fact finding. I used it to refine a little bit of vocabulary in the speech, but it was all me. And consensus around the table was reached by all stakeholders that, wow, you really did write this speech. And if it was my class, I wouldn't have said you cheated. Yeah, I think you give everybody voice. You give them choice. You allow them to speak what they believe is their truths. When we left our first meeting, our assignment was to simply research AI. Tell us what you come back with. Tell us what you found. Fine. And we used the Google Doc. We put all our resources in the Google Doc, and then we shared those resources with one another. And it was just a great conversation around AI and how it could be leveraged in our district. We talked once again about the fears and how to overcome those fears. What we felt was paramount, and everyone in the room had consensus around, AI did not replace the human touch. So it did not replace the classroom teacher. And once we had that fundamental understanding amongst everyone that was on the committee, I felt like we were able to move forward. We jumped a major hurdle. Once everyone in the room, whether we were gung-ho or not on implementing AI, that it did not replace the teacher remained in control of their classroom as well. And AI was just a tool that the teacher could use in their instructional repertoire. We were able to spring forward. So it's important to recognize AI is a tool. Just like any other research you would conduct or any other instructional tool, you have to verify it. You have to ensure that it's telling you with accurate information and not just misinformation, but biased information as well. Recognizing that with AI tools that exist right now, there's a large degree of bias that may be a part of it, right? Who's the author behind the AI tools that we are leveraging? And knowing that is critically important, just as if I was going to a library and looking at a book or doing some research online, I need to determine who's the author, what's their perspective, because everyone is coming with their various perspectives. So it's just critically important for us to understand that teachers still remain in control of the classroom, and also providing enough flexibility that we're not saying every teacher needs to implement AI in the classroom now. Any AI usage in the classroom falls under teacher guidance. So a student can only leverage AI if the teacher approves it. So the teacher still is in control of their classroom. So we recently reviewed the policy with our administrators and our teachers. We just reviewed the policy with our teachers yesterday. We just started the school year so that they can have the Gemini. We adopted Gemini and Notebook LM as our AI tools in the classroom for teacher usage. So we made sure, one, we reviewed the policy with them, and two, providing district approved tools in Gemini and Notebook LM. Now we're moving deeper into professional learning and using it in the actual classroom. And so we're starting small. We're not going to go full scale in all 40 of our schools. We are planning the pilot with 2 schools in partnership with Google as well as AFT Connecticut to provide intensive and focused professional learning to teachers and staff at those 2 schools, and leveraging AI in the classroom and in the workspace as well as a way to implement more standards-based instruction in our classrooms, but also to reduce the amount of time spent on managerial tasks. In addition to that, we're also bringing together a cadre of teachers across the district that are willing to be the early adopters of AI integration in the classroom. They also will receive intensive professional learning experiences through Google and AFT Connecticut to implement AI in the classrooms. And we'll have regular progress monitoring discussions to see how well it's going, with the vision of hopefully using their classrooms as model classrooms for other teachers throughout the district. It's truly impactful and powerful. We are all still learning in this space that we're in right now. Technology is constantly evolving. AI is constantly evolving. So the more that we engross ourselves in ways to make education easier for teachers, and I should say more manageable for our teachers, and to give our students more access, we are all in for it. We need this innovation in the K-12 setting to make sure our students are able to compete successfully. The one thing I would suggest is add students to your committee. I think it's critically important to hear how students are leveraging AI in their daily lives, as well as to assist with their educational journey. The students bring a unique perspective because they grew up with devices in hand. And so I often tell a story about my own child who was 11 at the time, who downloaded an AI tool on his phone, and I can see what he downloaded. And I asked, I said, why do you have that on your phone? And he wants to be a veterinarian. And he said, Mom, I was searching animal information on animals. And so I was like, oh, okay. So you're using this as a search engine. So just finding out how kids are leveraging, hearing the student voice, I think is critically important. We have had students review the policy since, and we will continue to engage groups of students moving forward as we refine this policy. And I think it's important to note that although we have a policy that passed through our Board of Education, this policy will constantly be revisited and refined. A challenge we have right now that's just coming to the forefront are the glasses that allow students to record notes and do AI meeting notes. And how do we integrate that within our policy? Because we don't want to always censor our students, but we also need to make sure we're protecting our students right through FERPA and COPA, ADA, and all of those other state and local and national regulations. Don't be afraid of what you don't know. We are all in a learning space when it comes to AI. Bring people to the table that are opinionated like you, that are not also hold the same opinions as you do as well. I think it's critically important in this space that we implement AI, we do it responsibly, we build policy, but understand at the end of this, it's all about our students and equity and access. And if we are afraid to integrate it at this time, we are putting our students behind. The digital divide will widen on our students immensely. Embrace the creativity that it can bring, be a risk taker at this time, and understand you can do this ethically and responsibly, and just take small steps and you will have small wins on the journey. I'm excited to attend the ASU GSV Summit in April 2026. I look forward to seeing all of you there. If you see me, shout me out, say hello. I'd love to learn from you, understand what you are doing in your district, and let's take K-12 education forward.